You are now listening to Over Under the Influence with your host, Connor Lucas. Sponsored by the only beer as cold as the Rockies, Coors Light. All right, everybody. Episode 12. It is January 18th. We have a very special guest Skyping in from Kansas City, Max Phelps. What's up, man?
What's up?
He's on to talk about UFC. This is the UFC 220 podcast. So yeah, let's get into it. UFC Fight Night 124 in St. Louis was this past Sunday night. Not the greatest card, but it was free, so you can't really complain about it. Darren Elkins, The Damage, took down Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson went down to 145 after always fighting at 155. Had a pretty good first round there, and as soon as the second round came in, just kind of gassed out, I guess. I don't know why he would gas out going down weight, but he got submitted in the second round.
Well, Darren Elkins, he's one of those guys who's always in your face. Like, he'll gas out somebody who doesn't get gassed out just because he's always putting pressure on you.
For sure.
Michael Johnson, he's always just had an issue with consistency.
Yeah.
Like, he's always shown signs of being good, but just can't string together wins.
Which is surprising because he's a pretty good fighter. Like, he should be a top 10 fighter. And I thought as soon as he'd go down to featherweight at 145, I thought that was maybe the weight class he needed to be in. But Darren Elkins was just absorbing punches.
Michael Johnson needed that win, too. Like, what's... Darren Elkins is number 9. Is that pre or post fight?
I think he was 10 pre-fight, so he must have moved up.
Yeah, so he's 9 now, and I'm not going to say he's out of his prime, or he's going to be fighting for a while still, I think. But I think that's one that Michael Johnson could have picked up, and that would have been real good for him career-wise. So dropping that to Elkins was tough for him. Yeah,
I mean, that fight that Michael Johnson had against Justin Gaethje was one of the crazier fights I've ever watched.
But he came out on the short end of that one.
Yeah, the wrong side of that one. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a good fighter. I honestly, that's only like the second fight I don't think I've ever seen Darren Elkins fight. That dude he's scrappy, man. He seems
he's
a little
one of those like trailer trash.
Yeah,
kind of
definitely.
fighters.
I mean, the dude has The Damage tattooed on his chest. I was like, come on, man. But nonetheless, pretty good fight. Next fight was Kamaru Usman and Emil Meek, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Because Meek had been looking really good, but
dude,
Usman got the job done.
He's a crazy looking guy. You like Meek? Because I feel like that's a guy you'd be into. With the, I think you like. I feel like you like the Viking type European white guys, crazy hair, tattoos. I feel like you'd be all over him.
Yeah, I saw that fight against Jordan Mean. He's a fun guy to watch. He's the kind of fighter you want to have in the UFC. Yeah, he's a tough guy, scrappy guy, but you could definitely tell he was overmatched there, and he put up a good fight. But yeah, Usman was just on a different level. Yeah,
man, Usman is definitely on the come up. I think he's got six or seven. I might have made that number up, but he's on a kill streak, man. He hasn't been beaten in a while.
Yeah, I mean, he's 11-1. I can't remember when that loss was, or if it was even like in the UFC.
Well, I knew he won the Ultimate Fighter a while back, so I don't know. It might have been his first mixed martial arts fight. For all I know, I have no idea. But yeah, Kamaru Usman just wrestled the shit out of Emil Meek. Didn't really put up a fight. It was unanimous decision after 3. But definitely look out for him. I think he's going to be a beast.
Yeah, and I think he was upset that he couldn't finish that fight too.
I definitely think because he didn't seem too happy after. I mean, he was happy he won, but you know when people are just expecting a.
Well, with a guy that talks that much, you want to be able to back it up, really.
For sure.
Leave it without a doubt. Put your name out there.
Yeah. So next fight, Paige Van Zandt and Jessica Rose Clark.
That one was kind of disappointing. This is the first one where I really started caring because I'm a Van Zandt fan. But to have that was almost like watching a DC win. Clark just kind of laid on top of her for the majority of those first 2 rounds, and that's what won it for her. She wasn't really dominating her, I would say. She was just got her down and laid on top of her.
Sure. I think, yeah, I'd agree. Paige is definitely more. She'll throw a lot more at you. I think she likes the jump kicks, the spin kicks, all the fun stuff, kind of in mixed martial arts. But yeah, I'd agree. It's definitely like a DC kind of sit on you. She just played that card, which I'm kind of worried. We'll talk about later, but DC might do the same thing in this upcoming fight.
If Van Zandt didn't break her arm on that spinning back fist deal,
Yeah.
like, she probably would have been a little more effective. Would have been a different fight. But
Definitely.
when you have your dominant arm broken, it's kind of. I'm surprised she did as well as she did. She probably won that third round too.
Yeah. If you're listening, Paige broke her arm in the first round. It was her left arm, right?
It was her right arm.
Okay.
Because it was her dominant arm. That spinning back fist, and just when, I think when she made contact, it just kind of like broke halfway down her arm or something.
So she had two rounds of bearing through that, which already put you behind the eight ball. But that was a good fight. I mean, I don't normally tend to enjoy watching those small of women fight, but I mean, it was good. I didn't have a problem with it. Yet they gave us what we wanted.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
And well, you said we started off saying like it wasn't the greatest card, but if you saw if those 4 fights plus if you had the Belfort fight in there, that could have been a pretty interesting card. Because then, I mean, the headliner was Steves and Choi. Like that was it wasn't a barn burner, but it definitely was what people expected it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Good transition. Now we'll talk about Lil Heathen, Jeremy Stevens, and Doo-Ho Choi. It was the main event. Pretty good actual first round, I thought. And then Jeremy Stevens just kind of hit him with a couple pretty dominant shots, and Doo-Ho Choi just couldn't take him.
Well, I mean, he's again. I think Doo-Ho Choi showed his chin. He can take a hit, but
Sure.
Yeah, that second round. I mean, when he was landing like some 3-4 shot combos that were landing flush in the face like that, it's hard for anybody to survive that.
For sure, especially a guy like Jeremy Stevens. I mean, he definitely packs a punch. He's up there on one of the hardest hitting dudes. But yeah, that was.
I think that fight showed a lot of like experience versus lack thereof. Because I mean, Doo-Ho Choi. I mean, the kid is.
You're a Choi fan, aren't you?
14-2, and his only 2 losses are against Cub Swanson and Jeremy Stevens. So he's definitely got plenty of good years ahead of him, and he's going to be the guy to watch out for, I think. And I think just experience and managing a guy like Jeremy Stevens who throws those heavy-handed hits, he's going to learn how to kind of fight against that instead of just trying to like square up with him.
Yeah. Well, check this. Doo-Ho Choi has to go into the Army next year.
Oh, is it the mandatory Korean service deal? That's what Korean Zombie went through.
Yeah. So I think they both have to. At least that's what I heard. I don't know for sure, but
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I was kind of curious because they were going to kind of see how he would, fare against pretty good competition, Jeremy Stevens. And now it's kind of like, okay, well, he lost Jeremy Stevens. Now what do you do for the next year until he just has to enlist? Very, odd, but I mean, he's still good. He's still top 10, top 12 in my opinion. He's pretty good, but
I mean, he took top-notch competitors upon entering. Showed that he could hang with them. Ended up losing, but
Cub Swanson. That Cub Swanson fight was
Dana White wants him back in there for sure.
Yeah, his fight against Cub Swanson was pretty. That was the first one I believe I ever saw him fight, and that was just a brawl. They were both going at it. I thought that was the
one
fight
of the year last year, wasn't it?
It might have been. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
This year was
Gaethje and Alvarez.
Gaethje and Johnson, but yeah, I think last year was
Gaethje. I thought this year was Gaethje Alvarez at 218.
Oh, was it? Okay, so then that beat out the Gaethje Johnson fight.
Yeah, pretty much any fight you have Justin Gaethje in, it's just going to be a all-out war, which is awesome. So that was that card. I mean, it was a decent card. It definitely wasn't like holy shit.
I was looking into tickets to going because it's only like 4 hours away.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Had Belfort still been on that card, I definitely would have tried to go. But when I saw that he was off, then it definitely wasn't worth it at that point.
Yeah. So Uriah Hall and Vitor Belfort were supposed to fight. Uriah Hall apparently had like a minor heart attack / passed out. / who knows what happened, but went to the hospital.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything other than the people who were there said it was like really scary.
Yeah. So now, word on road is it's going to be Vitor and Bisping in England for Vitor's last quote unquote retirement fight.
Well, that's going to be interesting because I've had my opinions about Bisping, and I think getting an older Belfort isn't really going to answer anything, but it could be a good matchup.
Yeah.
My brownies are dang. I'm going to be right back.
Oh, no worries, man. So Max is cooking brownies. Is there a pot in those brownies, Max?
There's no pot.
There's no pot in the brownies. All right. While he's doing that, we'll move on to the Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix. If you haven't heard, some of the older gentlemen who used to be ballers about 10 years ago all got in this tournament-style Bellator Heavyweight tournament, I guess. And it starts off with Rampage Jackson against Chael Sonnen. King Mo's in it. Frank Mir's in it. Ryan Bader.
The crazy Russian dude.
Fedor.
Yeah,
Fedor Emelianenko.
Big Country, you say him?
Big Country. Yeah, that's all I can think of. But we're focused more on Rampage against Chael Sonnen. Also on the card is the Bellator Welterweight Championship between Rory the Red King McDonald and Douglas Lima. I was a big Rory McDonald fan when he was in the UFC. Now he moved. But I've never seen Douglas Lima fight before, to be honest with you. But I know how good Rory is. He's coming out as a -230 favorite.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I kind of forgot he was even there. What's the story behind him moving to Bellator?
Dude, I don't know what it was. I think it had to do with a little bit with money. I don't think he was getting along with Dana White. I'm not sure the whole thing, but I guess Bellator straightened him right because they got him in there fairly quickly. And I think this is only
always ready to jump on any name they can get, but Rory McDonald, that's a
big one.
He's a big fighter.
Yeah.
He should dominate that Bellator as long as he wants to stay there.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is only his second fight in Bellator, and I remember seeing the first one, and he just demolished the dude he fought. But yeah, I mean, I'll take Red King in that one. I can't say too much because I don't know much about Douglas Lima, but Rory McDonald, big fan of his. So Quentin Rampage Jackson, Chael Sonnen, two greats. Chael Sonnen, maybe the greatest smack talker of all time. You probably hate him, love him or hate him. He's a legend. And obviously Quentin Rampage Jackson. Gotta love him. He's done so much for the sport, and I don't know, we used to fucking love him growing up. So
the first season of The Ultimate Fighter that I can remember watching was Rampage and Sugar.
Rashad?
Yeah, so watching him and Rashad go at it, I mean, that was kind of an anticlimactic fight, but it was a fun season to watch. You get to know a guy like Rampage, so yeah, definitely interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah, so I guess the storyline here, which is the storyline for all of these Grand Prix fights, everyone's in their last leg of their career. Everyone thinks they can become this heavyweight belt holder in Bellator. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But who you got in this?
I'm going to take Rampage just because I think when it comes down to, like, the old men fighting, if somebody can just land one, like, kind of crushing haymaker, that could just seal the deal. But, I mean, I can't remember what Sonnen said. Sonnen was talking some shit.
Like he always does.
And I can't remember. He said he was going to, like, either knock him out or wrestle him. I can't remember what he said, but he basically called out how he's going to beat Rampage. And I can see him beating him if he gets Rampage down and just turning into a wrestling match. But no, if I was to put money down, I'd put money on the Rampage uppercut.
Okay. You put money down on it, or you want that?
If I had to put money down on it, that's what I'd do. I don't think I'm going to be putting money on this fight, though.
Oh, no. I even went to my book, and I can't even bet on it if I wanted to. But I'm a little different here. I'm going to take Chael. I think Chael's just a smarter, he's definitely a smarter fighter. He's more sound, more technical. You're pretty much just, and I'm not saying he's like super technical. He's not, TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz, any of those guys, but he's also, 100 more pounds. Yeah, so I think if it goes the distance, it's definitely Chael. And obviously, if it's ended early, it's probably what you said, a Quentin Rampage Jackson KO. But regardless, it'll be fun to watch. The only problem with it, though, is it's on the same night as UFC 220, which is a weird scheduling. If I'm
you can TiVo Bellator.
Well, Bellator is 9 to 11, and UFC is 10 to midnight, 1 o'clock, so you can still watch both. I plan on having 2 TVs out. I'll watch both. Because I'm really only interested in the 2 fights that we're about to get into on UFC 220. But yeah, anything else on Rampage, Chael?
We'll see what happens. 2 old guys going at it. Someone's probably the favorite, but watch out if he gets too sucked in emotionally and wants to stand up and bang, then watch for a Rampage uppercut. But yeah.
I did hear, though, that Rampage is giving Chael Sonnen $10,000 for every takedown that he gets.
I did not know that.
Yeah, how crazy is that? I saw that today. So Chael, and Chael's response to that was, I planned on taking him down once per round anyway, so give me the 30 grand. And his quote was, you can be as rich as you want, but 30 grand is 30 grand.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a point. But, that might also, maybe there's some head games going on here. Maybe Rampage is trying to lure him in for those and, look for him to take a shot when he's diving in.
Absolutely.
For a takedown.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. UFC 220. Definitely not the card of the year, I'm assuming. This is the first pay-per-view event of 2018, but it might be the fight of the year with Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou for the heavyweight belt. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about Daniel Cormier, DC, against Volkan Ozdemir. That's the co-main event. That is for the light heavyweight belt. It shouldn't be if John Jones would get his head out of his ass, but we've talked about this for 4 years now, and we don't want to waste any more breath on him right now. So, thoughts on DC against Ozdemir?
My thoughts, first, you look at Volkan. His last 3 fights are wins versus Ovince St. Preux, Misha Kirkunov, and Jimmy Manuwa. So he's got 3 solid wins in that division. You look at DC's fight record recently, and I'm going to try to keep my bias out of this, but kind of got his ass handed to him by John Jones. He beat Rumble, but if you go back and watch that fight, Rumble retired before that fight. He didn't retire after it. He did not show up for that. He beat Anderson Silva, who took that fight on, a week's notice or something crazy, and still had to pull his, let me just lay on top of you so I can get a safe win because Silva was still dangerous. He had the win over Alexander Gustafsson, which was pretty impressive. So, his history hasn't shown me too much to get excited about. So I think the unknown here is what is Cormier going to look like against a top-notch guy? Because he hasn't fought an OVP or a Kirkunov or a Manuwa lately.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Volkan's been looking pretty good. I watched that Cirkunov fight on my phone on the way back, actually, from, I don't know where I was. I don't even know why I brought that up. But he looked real good there. I think this is going to actually just come down to if they're standing up or on the ground, because obviously DC has a huge advantage on the ground. Volkan, I don't know if I'd say Volkan has the advantage, but it's not as large of an advantage as it is for DC on the ground. And
he's got 3 inches on him, and he's got 5-6 years on him. So I think he's also the more versatile guy. I don't necessarily. He's probably way outclassed when it comes to the wrestling, but I think he's got the skill set to maybe avoid it better than most guys have.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. DC's coming in at minus 340. Volkan is plus 270. I probably will stay away from betting this because I think DC will win just because the same way he always does, like you said, just sit on him, just ground and pound until the dude just tires out. And that's the thing, man. DC, you look at the guy, he's like, that guy can't go 5 rounds. That guy can definitely go 5 rounds. He has no problem doing it.
And he's done it enough, too.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'll take Daniel Cormier. Who you got?
I'll take Vulcan in this one.
Really? Are you unbiasedly saying that?
I think so.
I don't think you are.
I don't. Maybe not entirely, but I think again, I'm looking at their recent fights, and that's what would make me say Vulcan. Like if I didn't know who the two guys fighting were, and I just saw like their last 3 fights, then I'd